down in the back. Not again,
Okay.
but it doesn't.
Call to order the Binghamton Board of Electrical Examiners meeting for February 7th, 2024. First order of business, to review the minutes from our last meeting on 12/5/23. At that time, we had full attendance. We reviewed prior minutes and approved them. We reviewed journeyman license applications and master C applications. All verified. One journeyman did not pass the requirements. The others, one other one was also not approved, has not taken his test yet. The other 4 journeymen were approved, scheduled for their practical hands-on examination. The 2 master Cs were approved. Bill had a question about which exam, which NEC book was used during the exam. We responded, said that was 2017, and that was the end of that meeting. Does anybody want to make a motion to
I'll make a motion. to
bring
approve
these into the record?
it. Yep.
Second.
All right, approved. Previous minutes approved. Okay, so what we have on today's agenda is 2 applications. One is a Master C application, which would enable this person to do one-time job in a 1-year period in the city of Binghamton, provided he's met the requirements. The Journeyman B application is to do the same, one job in a 1-year period, provided he's met the requirements. Taking a look at those, did we have any questions about the merits of the application and the proof that was submitted?
I'm just looking.
Okay, take your time. It's
Yeah.
it's not a timed answer. Bill mentioned we also have 2 gentlemen from the IBEW with us today. And you are, I'm sorry,
Calvin Harrell, the business manager of IBEW Local 325 that has interest in these licenses.
yeah, thank you, Calvin. That's a nice title. And Jay?
Jared Brewer.
Oh, Jared.
25.
Okay.
I don't know if there's public comment on this.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah, well, after these guys review it, we can,
Right.
see if there's any public comment for sure.
Yeah.
You guys are more than welcome to ask questions or clarifications. IBEW. International Brotherhood of Electrical. Yeah, Jared. No, that's Calvin is right. It's
Oh, I was-
Jared, not
Okay.
So
not
this,
Jerry.
all these is looking for a journeyman B,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
And are we accepting his apprenticeship certificate from the state as meeting the requirements?
He's got a certificate.
But he doesn't have a license.
He
for
doesn't have a
something.
license, but now we run into the problem where a lot of municipalities don't have a journeyman's licensing program like Oneonta. We know that they have a master licensing program. They don't have a journeyman licensing program.
What about Rochester?
I don't know. If that's, I mean, if that's something that we want verification on, then we can hold off on, saying yes or no and get more information.
Yeah, because we haven't used, I mean, it's not in the standards to use an apprentice thing. Or
Right,
Apprentice,
it says license.
right, it says license.
So we're gonna call and ask about a license for Waldies. And if Rochester has a licensing program.
For journeyman.
Yeah. What's the next page? Is that anything else?
There's
Oh, he's just saying who he's working under now, Jeff Flanagan.
yeah. I was just looking at this.
Yeah,
Says he's an employee of
right.
Red Hat.
Yeah, that's the company who's hoping to get this job.
Is this a standard form that certificate of completion from New York State would have? I don't know why it would have Red Hat on there.
I don't know if I have another example of a apprenticeship certificate from the state, but it's pretty legit. But again, it's not a license.
Yeah,
So even if we were to license him here,
Yeah.
he would have to take the test.
Yeah.
And then you would have to come down and take the hands-on test.
Right.
And the B is, what was the B?
Well, he would become a journeyman A if he did that and he
Yeah.
became licensed in the
Yeah.
city of Binghamton. That would, I mean, it wouldn't hurt him to have a license in a municipality somewhere in New York, because
Yeah.
if this comes up with other municipalities, instead of handing him this apprentice certificate, he'd use our license as proof of being licensed.
So we're gonna hold off on that one to check
Yeah.
and make sure,
Okay.
all right?
Yeah.
And this one is the one that's applying for the one time.
That, you got the journeyman,
Yeah.
Tom's got the
He's got it.
master, and who was that, Jeff Flanagan? It's applying?
No.
Chris Mosier, Greg Mosier
Greg Mosher.
is applying for Master C.
Yeah, okay.
Does he have a license on that, attached to that? I
He
don't
was the
remember.
one that had the license for Mythica.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. He's got the license in it. Yeah.
he's just that's just a journeyman. Licensed electrician.
Master, it says on the next page, it's got. car.
This is for Jeff
Oh,
Flanagan,
oh,
so this isn't even him.
oh, they're just
On
saying
both.
who he's
Yeah.
working under now.
Right,
So he's applying for a master license, but he doesn't have a master license anywhere else
right.
that
And then
he's submitted.
to me, like this paperwork shouldn't be in that one or this one, because it really is irrelevant.
It is. Okay, so we got a little hiccup with both of these.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a master license anywhere. And this one
Greg,
doesn't
well,
have the
Greg
license.
Moser, you will find your inactive, but he didn't, oh, he did give us the copy of this inactive license for 2023. Greg Moser does have,
A journeyman.
But that was 23,
it just says licensed electrician.
that was last year.
Yeah, and didn't you say that they were
Inactive.
renewing it? The insurance policy shall be maintained for the complete calendar year, the amount of liability. Should be harmless, usually. We do not carry workers' compensation. This is all about workers' comp. Okay, so he's inactive for 2023.
And that's just a journeyman, inactive, right?
Yeah,
No, it just says electrician. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
say.
not a master.
well, it would say master if
It
it had a
would,
master.
okay.
Right. Seems like it's a long ways from,
It's getting close, but not quite there. Inactive, Ithaca. Journeyman. Jeff was the master.
Well, that's not even a master, is it?
Yeah, that's his
That one
master.
is a
Jeff.
master.
Jeff says.
In the city of Binghamton.
But it really has,
Why is he
really-
telling us that?
I don't know. Really, I don't think it should be even in there with their application.
No. I'm confused who he is anyway. It's Jim Van Patten is the project manager writing the checks. Flanagan is licensed. Maybe Flanagan's the owner of Radec. I don't know. He's got a Binghamton license.
What's a 370-C? Is C the class of license?
No, the license. Oh, maybe. I'll have to look that up and see if he.
That's the Jeff Flanagan.
Yeah,
But like I said, it shouldn't have anything to do with these guys.
no,
We just approved Jeff
Last,
Flanagan last meeting.
right,
So he did get his master C. So that's what that is. He's a master C. But to get two other guys from this company license, looks like it's gonna be a little tricky. We got some questions. All right,
so
for the master class C application for Greg Mosher, anyone in favor of approval? Anyone opposed?
opposed waiting for
Opposed,
suppose, yeah.
opposed.
unanimously opposed. And that's for Greg Mosher. We'll get clarification. On the matter of Mr. Waldice, journeyman B application,
Opposed,
Opposed,
because he doesn't have a license elsewhere.
opposed for clarification. I will
Opposed
reach
for
out. to-
missing license.
Yeah. Well, if he can clarify that he has one, send it. We'll review it
Yeah.
again at the next meeting.
Yep.
All right, so these two applications are unanimously opposed and pending clarifications. If we receive those clarifications, we will review them again at the next meeting in March. Other than that, I have no new business on the agenda. Does anybody have anything that they would like to address? We can call to our guests. You guys can come on up to the table if you'd like, if you have items that you wanted to discuss or share. Now's the time for you to
Yep.
at the table.
I'm Calvin Harrell, Business Manager, IBEW Local 325. On the
Welcome, Kevin.
200 Court Street project,
Yep,
our contractor that would have used local labor, John Mills Electric, pulled the permit on the project with Krista.
yes,
They had the project. January the 8th, after the permit, the John Mills was on for the electrical and the fire alarm installer. They got an email from Krista that we went in different direction with Radar. There is IDA money on the project, which I showed up to the IDA for public comment. And I spoke my 5 minutes. There was questions from the board of directors. And I explained to them through the process and everything. And after much deliberations, it turns out that the executive director wrote a waiver without the board knowing. Which can be done because the board doesn't have to show. However, we can do this with labor and taxpayer money. So I have been everywhere. So I talked with Senator Webb's office yesterday with a meeting. The legislator Dan Reynolds, our Congressman Molinaro. So there is a lot of stuff coming. And I let Jared know that I was doing this. I'd rather not see the city get into a licensing issue of people having to provide a license if the IDA does the correct thing and represents the constituents of Broome County. Otherwise, level B is enforcement of making city licenses. They're 4.5 miles from my Union Hall, the project. You know, I'd rather not go that far. I'd rather not go to level C. So I would like a little time for the IDA to do the correct thing. And because the director said their recommendation was to claw the money back if it couldn't be met with our people or our contractor who had it. Because as far as I know, they're still listed on the permit. I don't believe, but that's the first I heard that Flanagan was granted his master's. So he could have pulled a permit by now. I don't know if he did. But if Krista is going around with still with a permit with our contractor who didn't get the, they had the job because they had him pull the permit.
okay.
So I just
So
wanted.
I'll answer those for you. I don't know about IDA and the, senators, legislators,
Yep,
and how they're gonna respond. I don't really know how that works, and I'm glad you're looking into it.
Yep.
One question I had is, have you spoken with Will Tidd from Christie Construction? Will is the project manager. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to speak with him and try to persuade him one way or the other.
I sent an email to who the guy who sent the Dear John
Okay,
to ours.
okay.
And
That
so
would be a good place.
Krista is aware and the IDA was aware that
Yeah.
I would definitely sign a letter of assent with Radek and they could hire our people, which, there's no response because that's not what they do.
So as Mr. Emmons was saying earlier, if they're a non-union shop, would they be able to hire off the IBEW bench to bring in journeyman to help them with this
If
job?
they sign a letter of
Okay.
assent, which I said at the IDA, which they wouldn't do, because that would make their firm a union company.
Okay,
And if they wanted to be union, they would be union.
right. Okay.
I would be willing to do that, so
You
I
would be
did,
willing to do that, but they, Radec would not be willing to do that.
right, and I
Okay.
discussed that with the board,
Okay.
so,
All right, questions we can ask,
Yeah.
Mr. Mosher, Flanagan, and,
yeah, yep,
Waldice and, Van Patten when we call them. I will explain how, the permitting process works. These permits have been granted to Helio Health. The building owner is responsible for obtaining and, all permits, and the permits are issued to the building owner.
yep,
The reason being is if the company came in, say it was, John Mills, and he paid the $5,000 for the permit. If Krista decided to go with somebody else, then Mills would come back into her office and say, I want my $5,000 back. I'm not gonna be using this permit anymore. So instead of receiving and refunding and receiving and refunding 3 or 4 times throughout a job as contractors change, the permits go to the building owner. The building owner pays the permit application fee, and there will be no refunds to anybody who gets kicked off the job or decides to leave the job. The next person, conversely, will not have to pay a new fee. It was paid for once by the building owner. The permit was given to the building owner. And if contractors change throughout the job, the only obligation that anyone has, contractor or owner, is to notify us and modify the permit application to let us know that the names have changed. Because at that point, we are still obligated to verify licensing and verify workers' comp and disability insurances. So if John Mills is not on this job, Krista Construction, acting as an agent for the owner, is obligated to notify the city of Binghamton that Krista has been removed. All the proof of insurance that they provided is now invalid. And their new electrical contractor will have to be licensed in the city of Binghamton, and their workers' comp and disability will have to be provided to us. Otherwise, that electrical work permit is suspended until we can confirm compliance with Workers' Compensation Board and the licensing program. So we have no communication with Krista or Helio letting us know that there's going to be a change in contractors. It is their obligation to notify us. I will make a phone call to Will at Krista Construction and remind him of that. As it stands right now, we have no knowledge that anybody other than John Mills is going to be doing this work. So the fact that you brought that up gives us something to discuss when we call Mr. Tidd up at Krista Construction. And I'll remind him that that has to be in place. Unfortunately, we don't have a mechanism to stall the job or to hold it up, other than saying that that specific trade permit is suspended until we have clarification of compliance with Workers' Compensation Board rules.
which is fine and great, and that's why I'm here, and that's why we're here together for education and how this
Yeah.
works and everything.
Yeah,
And with that said, should they go through with Radec, which is fine, but every electrician
Yeah.
on that project would need to be licensed, need to be approved
Yep.
at this process.
Yeah.
So if I sit there every day and track electricians
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
call,
And we
you
know,
guys
yeah, if
have an
these,
enforcement mechanism to.
Yep. Yeah. We would have to suspend all work at the project until these people are licensed. And in addition to us making sure that they're licensed, the Workers' Compensation Board would actually have to come in and say, either these guys are on your payroll and they're covered by your workers' comp and disability, or you're in trouble for not providing insurance for all these guys that are on the job here. So, there's a couple of agencies that have an interest in making sure that everybody's safe and protected and that the work is being done by qualified personnel. And those are things that, you can either bring to our attention because you've made observations or we make observations. But it stands to reason that if we have one master on this job and 2 other people who are applying, to be a master and a journeyman, we would have questions how you're going to accomplish a task of this size with 3 people.
Correct.
And so that would certainly, raise a couple eyebrows and would cause me to give Flanagan and Mosher and Waldice and Van Patten a call and say, how are you guys planning on handling this? Because we don't want to be looking over your shoulders. We'd like to know that you came in with a full crew of qualified personnel that are fully insured and you're doing great work, or there's gonna be a lot of suspicion and we hate establishing that kind of relationship with people. We would like it to go smoothly.
Yes.
So
and
we'll make some calls. We're putting all these applications on hold until the next meeting in March. And Calvin, if you have a card or a phone number, I can certainly, keep you informed of what's going on. There's, like I said, really not a mechanism for us to stand up for John Mills and compel
Right,
Chris to go any other way, but
Nope.
there are certain qualifications that need to be met before we can, keep the permit active.
for your record.
So I'll follow up with the personnel from Radec. I'll follow up with you and let you know where it stands. I wish you the best of luck with IDA and the local legislators and, hopefully they'll be able to assist you in one way or another and bring some resolution to this.
Yep. I
All right.
appreciate it. I
got it.
appreciate your time and the comment and the
Yep.
education
Okay.
through this. Awesome.
Any questions come up in the meantime, you're more than welcome to give me a call. I'm always available and, Amy Snell has my number and, we appreciate everything the hall's done for us with accommodating our testing program and providing proctors and things like
Oh,
that. So,
that's fantastic.
all
I
right.
pushed hard to get that into our,
Yeah.
from
Well,
the
it's worked out
previous
great.
administration.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been working out well.
it's
for
good
us.
for everyone.
All right. Well, if nobody has anything else, somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
It's done, adjourned. Thank you,
All right.
Rob.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Very good.